Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to welcome you to the first event of the new series, the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series, here on the NNSCRA Sports Channel as we begin Speed Weeks from the first race of the season, Daytona International Speedway. The Speed Weeks races will culminate up to the finale of this weekend, of course, the running of the Great American Race Daytona 500. But here today, it's a non-points event as 17 drivers will take to the track for 20 laps of racing in today's hashtag Daytona Dream 2019 Clash at Daytona. This field going to be featuring the drivers that have generously donated on the hashtag Daytona Dream 2019 GoFundMe, and they will battle it out here today to see who's going to take the first checkered flag of the newly christened Duracell Cup Series. On the pole position for today's race, going to be Zach Rogers, one of two Dodges that'll be in the Duracell Cup Series this season out of Bulldog Motorsports. And alongside of him is going to be the Ally number 48 Chevrolet Camaro of Austin LaPlante, co-owner of the Chevrolet team of Northeast Motorsports. We're going to be seeing all the different 17 drivers that have donated any amount on the GoFundMe, which the GoFundMe at this point is up to $500. Thank you so much to every one of the people that have donated. If you want to head over and donate as well and get us up to the $600 mark for what our next special event would end up being as a result, you can do that. Also bear in mind, it puts you in the running for a die-cast for the month of February, and also it puts you as an automatic reserved ride in upcoming special events and upcoming series. Everybody that donated to the hashtag Daytona Dream 2019 GoFundMe before this point got reserved rides in the Duracell Cup Series and obviously are locked into today's clash. Let's go down trackside and get those most famous words in motorsport.
Drivers, start your engines!
And so as the command is given, and the pace car will lead the 17 drivers around this 2.5-mile super speedway for one pace lap before going green. You can check down in the description below for the official starting lineup for today's race. Weather conditions here today definitely seem to be a recipe for really good racing because the temperature is 57 degrees, an overcast day, and so that means the track temperature is probably quite cool, which means we're going to see drivers making quite a bit of moves, I would think, here, and hoping that it sticks, and the likelihood that it would stick, pretty doggone good. Bear in mind as well, there are no points on the line here for these drivers. It's basically for bragging rights and a check at the end, and so these drivers will probably be more willing to make moves that would possibly cause a wreck rather than be conservative, because there's really nothing to lose at this point in time. It's going to be 20 laps of racing, so it's about 40% of the length of what the Daytona 500 will be. So I think these drivers at least will get an idea of what the fuel mileage possibly will be. I don't think they can make it 20 laps on one tank of fuel. I think if we don't have the aid of a yellow flag during the course of this 20-lap event, we will see these drivers have to make a green flag pit stop before this race's conclusion. Another thing we should also bear in mind, too, that these drivers are going to get a little bit of an upper hand on the rest of the Duracell Cup Series field in terms of, what to expect, the characteristics of Daytona, in terms of handling, in terms of grip, in terms of what their cars are able to do, because they're getting a little bit of a pre-lesson, if you will. Everybody else, we won't see them until Daytona 500 qualifying, the Gatorade Duels, and of course the Great American Race Daytona 500. But the first green flag of the season set to fly. Green flags in the air here in the clash. Austin LaPlante may have started on the outside, but he was able to time that green flag perfectly to stay alongside Zach Rogers, at least going into turn one. But now Rogers going to peel out in front with help from Matt McIntyre on the bottom lane. Rogers now moves up to the top side to try and pull that high line along with him. Matt McIntyre has the door left open down low to make a move, and he will stick his foot in there. 3 wide from the back, that's Kyle Matthews up the middle. Jack Mitchell was way up the track, almost brushed the wall through 3 and 4. Keeps it together, though, as it'll be side by side. Who's going to lead the first lap here in the clash? Looks like it will be Zach Rogers by half a car length. This also gives us the opportunity here for the first time in the Duracell Cup Series to see what the new rules package is going to bring to the table. I think somebody just got in the wall back there. That is Levi McIntyre up the track and into the wall. It's another thing about the cooler track conditions. The more grip there is, the higher the speeds are, and that can definitely affect how fast you go into the corner. And if you're up on that high side, you've seen it before, you carry too much speed and it drifts you up from the high line to the wall. And that's caused a couple of drivers, Jack Mitchell, Dylan Young, and Dylan Poteet, to lose the lead pack as they're 3 wide further up here towards the front. Michael Norman in the middle, and we almost had Carter Friesen make a move on Carson Gum. As Zach Rogers right now doing a good job channeling the inner Dale Jr., controlling the different lines. Now he's got Matt McIntyre back to his inside and alongside him again down the back straightaway. So now for Dylan Young, Jack Mitchell, Dylan Poteet, Levi McIntyre, they're hoping for a caution to be able to catch back up. As Matthew Rodriguez will make it 3 wide for second. Rodriguez, one of 4 drivers that is going to be out of the Michael Norman Motorsports stables, and all 4 of those drivers are in this field. Matt McIntyre there in the middle is one of Matthew Rodriguez's teammates, Michael Norman. That red number 3 back there on the inside line is the team owner, and Dylan Poteet, that Baja Blast number 31 we saw that has lost the draft, he also is out of the M&M stables. Got a couple of other teammates that are able to work together here as well. You got Carson Gum up here in the 19, his teammate in the 71, James Shelley, as well as the 18 of Cole Baker, that black and white car up on the top side there, alongside the red machine of Michael Norman. And then you've also got Rockin' Ranch Racing, Triple R. Both of their cars are in this field as well. Chris Dollerton in the 43, he is 3rd, now 4th on that inside line behind Matthew Rodriguez, and Levi McIntyre, his teammate we saw, obviously got the earlier on. Zach Rogers, though, doing a heck of a job right now of really controlling the draft and controlling which lane gets a run. A lot of credit probably has to go to his spotter telling him which line is moving. He's been able to keep them double wide and 3 wide behind him and really not had a challenge for the lead. Baker ran a little wide through that corner with Kyle Matthews on his back bumper. Matthews, the only driver out of Retro Racing Enterprises here in the clash. We'll see his teammates Charles Samper and Jessica Shelton in the Daytona Speed Weeks, but neither one of them here in the clash. Is Austin LaPlante's going to try the bottom on Zach Rogers. I think if they could get that inside line formulated and keep, nose to tail down the back straightaway, I think they could make a move down into 3, but they just keep stepping out on each other. Now they remain side by side, and as soon as I say that, Matt Rod's going to peak low. Nope, stays back in line. And even with them staying formed up, that outside line still got a good run. Carson Gum pushed Zach Rogers back out to the top position. Now LaPlante looked really loose there through the center of turn 4. Look at Benny Watson back there, the single car entry out of Otter Island Motorsports. Just trying to stay in the draft here, and I think right now he's kind of the deciding factor into which line is moving. Very wide for the lead up there. That's Matt McIntyre to the bottom, and he might actually clear for the top spot. That was a nice move, controlling the draft, using the side draft off the 48. Can he complete the pass on Zach Rogers, who has lost all of his friends on the top side? Now LaPlante jumps up there to offer drafting help. As Matt McIntyre and Zach Rogers side by side again. Kyle Matthews down there, 2 tires on the yellow line. 3 wide with Jesse Turner and Carter Friesen, and he keeps it together as they let him back up. Rogers again continues to lead that outside line. Drop back there to the car we were just talking about, Jesse Turner, 47. And I was told Lake Effect Autosport, I think is what it's called, actually. I was trying to remember what his team was called. I was told it just a couple of days ago, and of course with my memory, it has to be basically within the first 30 minutes of knowing for me to remember, but I think I remember it correctly. I believe it was called Lake Effect Autosport. Jesse Turner, one of a number of Ford Mustangs this season. There's only a couple of them here in this clash. Himself, along with Chris Dollarton and Levi McIntyre, but we're going to see a lot more Ford Mustangs during the course of Speed Weeks. Then there's another single car team here with Carter Friesen, the number 37, the Wendy's Chevrolet. So for these drivers like Turner and Carter Friesen, when we end up getting into the Daytona 500, maybe even as early as the duel, it's going to be interesting to see what alliances they are able to make with fellow Chevys or Fords, whichever the case may be, to try and get themselves up to the front of the field. Speaking of front of the field, though, that is where Zach Rogers has been, and he has been doing a heck of a job keeping that car out in front. Mentioned that he is part of a two-car team this season. We'll see his teammate Ryan Brommer during the Speed Weeks. Rogers in the 6, Brommer in the 9. And now Matt McIntyre trying to make a charge again on the inside line. I believe, if I recall correctly, the fuel window for these drivers is somewhere between 14 to 16 laps. So with us running green up to this point, halfway through the race and no caution, woo! Dollarton went up and bumped the wall a little bit there. But I think we're going to see this race possibly come down to green flag pit stops as James Shelley now put in the middle 3 wide. Carter Friesen on the high side, Kyle Matthews on the inside. Right now, ever since Austin LaPlante jumped up to the high line with Zach Rogers, it seems like Zach's really been liking the fact that 48 is back behind him. I mean, these two were the fastest in qualifying, started on the front row, Rogers on the pole, LaPlante on the outside of the front row, so no doubt these two have the speed to keep themselves out in front. Matt McIntyre with his teammate Matthew Rodriguez there on the inside line. They are still determined to get that inside line going, but so far it has been no dice in the first half of this race. Sounds like we may be catching some slower traffic. That is Levi McIntyre, who for the last 9-10 laps has been without the benefit of draft, and so his lap time's been way off the race leaders who have been all up in a pack. After getting up and getting the wall, Levi McIntyre right now 17th, last on the charts, and he is about to get swallowed up by the lead pack. Look at the difference. McIntyre going 189, the field was going 210, and this might be the one thing that might be the Achilles heel for Zach Rogers. He gets held up on that outside line. That's going to give the race lead to Matt McIntyre in the 7. It's a non-points event, but obviously it's a race nonetheless, and I don't think Zach Rogers is going to be very happy with Levi McIntyre, because Zach Rogers had been enjoying the view out in front, and now because of a slower lean, he is dropping back outside of the top 5. He's on the front. New players for the lead. Matt McIntyre now with Kyle Matthews to the inside. Matthews got drafting help from a Ford. Here's Matthew Rodriguez, though, trying to help his teammate on the top side. Kyle Matthews went up to try and clear, couldn't do it. McIntyre and Matthew Rodriguez going to battle back on the high side and push McIntyre back to the front. Almost 4 wide back there with Norman, Dollarton, Rogers, and Austin LaPlante. They keep it together. And look at this. Benny Watson was running at the tail end of the field. I think he was 11th for a good portion of this race, just kind of picking his lines, riding at the back of the lead pack. Now he's up inside the top 5, 3 wide with James Shelley and Jesse Turner. Oh, got a car up in the wall. I think that's McIntyre again. And now that makes me really question, with seeing him go up into the wall a second time, if it really is the track conditions that affected that 99, or if it's just the way that his car is handling. He might not be able to turn that car when he's up on the outside line, because we really haven't seen anybody else go up and into the wall. We've seen them bounce off the wall, maybe brush the wall a little bit, but Levi McIntyre's car twice has just basically been sucked in by that wall as if the car won't turn. So I think that's a handling problem on the 99. Second time he's been up and into the safer barrier, and I believe both times it's been up in turn 3. And at the end of this clash, Kyle Matthews back down on the bottom. Very unusual alliance on the inside line. You got the Chevy of Kyle Matthews, the Ford of Jesse Turner, and then the Toyota of Cole Baker. Meanwhile, on the top side, you've got teammates in Chevrolets, Matthew Rodriguez behind Matt McIntyre. Then you got a Toyota behind them and James Shelley. And I think someone might be pitting. They're now pitting up to the top side as Carson Gum is up and into the wall. I think somebody indicated they're coming to pit road, and yes, they are. Oh, there goes Cole Baker! Up and into Chris Dollarton! That's going to wave a caution! And these drivers might be coming down a closed pit road. McIntyre, Matthews, Turner, Rogers, LaPlante, and Carson Gum all on pit road. The caution is indeed out. Saw Carter Friesen saw that wreck take place. He darted back up to the racing surface. He did not hit the commitment line, but Chris Dollerton, after contact with Cole Baker, that is going to bring out the caution flag, and a big break for those drivers we saw back there. Dylan Young, Dylan Poteet, and Jack Mitchell, they all remained on the lead lap, and I believe the leader at the stripe was Matthew Rodriguez. They're waiting for the pace car to catch them up. Now the question is, was pit road closed before leader Matt McIntyre and others came to pit lane? If it was, they would probably get a penalty. If it was not, though, with the timing of that caution, they could be at the front of the field when we go back green. I also don't think that with this caution that these drivers are going to be able to save enough fuel to have made it the rest of the way. So I think you still will see Matthew Rodriguez, James Shelley, Benny Watson, Michael Norman, Cole Baker. I think you'll still see them hit pit road here under yellow. But the question is, will they maintain their positions at the front of the field, or will it end up being Kyle Matthews who will be the race leader when we go back green? Because Kyle Matthews actually beat Matt McIntyre off pit road, and Cole Baker's going to stay out. So Baker, after bringing out the caution, looks like he is going to be a driver that will risk it, try and see if he can save enough fuel here under caution to make it the rest of the way, and he will restart ahead of Kyle Matthews. So as the caution is out for the first time here today in the clash near the closing stages of this race, let's go back and take a look at a replay. So obviously some drivers were coming to pit road, some drivers were not. Let's focus on the car down the inside line there, that Super Smash Brothers Ultimate Toyota Camry of Cole Baker. Now he's crowding Benny Watson. Oh yeah, you just see right there. I think he was trying to give room to Jesse Turner, who was coming to pit road, and it was almost a 3 wide there with Baker, Watson, and Dollerton. And Baker just didn't have enough room to be able to move up anymore. Benny Watson couldn't give him any more room. And look at Carter Friesen. What an amazing avoidance by the driver of the 37, just barely sidestepping the 43 of Chris Dollerton. And there you see those other drivers coming to pit road. They were basically committed. I don't think that they could have pulled off the maneuver that Carter Friesen did there of getting back on the track. They were so far down on the apron committing to pit road. And I'm pretty certain the caution did come out before they hit pit lane, but obviously with the rules package we have here, I don't think that the track gives a black flag to drivers that are at least on pit road or coming to pit road before that yellow flag comes out. It doesn't close pit road at that point in time. So I think it still will cycle around those drivers to the front of the field. So that caution, kind of a mixed blessing for them. Although I would have really liked to have seen how this would have finished out under green with the pit strategy. But Chris Dollerton, Cole Baker, and Benny Watson, the 3 drivers involved in this, our first caution of the day in the clash. Let's go back for the green flag. Next time by, we should be getting the 1 to green signal. And I thought that maybe because we have the extra lap of pacing due to a car being a lap down, that being the 99 of Levi McIntyre, that maybe Cole Baker was going to stay out and then maybe come to pit road when we reached 1 to green. But it looks like he is basically committed to the plan that with these pace laps, he's trying to save enough fuel that he will be able to make it the rest of the way. And when we go back green, it looks like we will be having a 1-lap shootout to finish this. So can Cole Baker save 1 lap of fuel here under pacing? Because the lights are still on the pace car. We will probably have them go out with the signal of 1 to green next time by. We are coming to 2 laps to go this time around. So Baker, this could be the ultimate fuel strategy. And bear in mind, he also has some damage, at least on the right side of that machine, after he was involved in that wreck with Benny Watson and Chris Dollerton. So is that going to affect him at all or not? I'm looking at that car, and I don't really visibly see any damage. At least nothing very significant. So that car might be okay. Lights are out atop the pace car. Here's the way they'll line up here for the 1-lap shootout here in the clash. It's Baker with the lead. Kyle Matthews lines up second. He was the fastest off pit road, so his pit crew might have gotten the job done for him to win this race. We'll have to wait and see. Matt McIntyre is going to line up in third. Fourth place will be Jesse Turner. Carson Gum will be in fifth. One of the dominant cars of the day, Zach Rogers, going to line up back in sixth. Don't know if he'll be able to mount a charge to get up to the front or not in one lap. Austin Plant lines up behind him there in seventh, though. LaPlante has been Rogers' wingman for a good portion of this race. James Shelley will line up in eighth. Ninth is Michael Norman, and completing your top 10 is Benny Watson. And 11th is Carter Friesen. 12th is Chris Dollerton. 13th place is going to be Dylan Poteet. 14th, Jack Mitchell. 15th is Dylan Young. Problems on pit road for Matthew Rodriguez. He had an extended stay and as a result will line up in 16th place, and one lap down in 17th is Levi McIntyre. All 17 cars are still running, 16 of them on the lead lap. And we're going to have to see with drivers like Poteet, Dylan Young, and Jack Mitchell, who seemed like they were going to be destined for finishes of 14th, 15th, and 16th, if they'll be able to better their finishes here. And Cole Baker is out of fuel. He tried it, and he's going to end up being about maybe 2 3/4 lap of a mile short on fuel. He's going to have to come to pit road. So Cole Baker, I mean, there's no points on the line. It's all for a check and bragging rights, so why not risk it? He did, and it's just not going to pay out for him. So now Kyle Matthews is going to lead us down. Green flag and white flag will be displayed at the same time. One lap shootout to determine the winner of the clash. Look at Matt McIntyre trying to use that outside line. Will he have any friends to help him? Carson Gum jumped up there. They're going to be side by side going into turn one. Jesse Turner now there on that inside line with Zach Rogers. Will they be able to make a move here down the back straightaway? Matt McIntyre up top. Kyle Matthews down low. Both lanes have an equal number of cars, and Matt McIntyre is going to shoot out to the front with help from that outside line. Into turn 3, Matt McIntyre now has got to do a lot of blocking out of turn 4. Carson Gum up top, Kyle Matthews down low. Matt McIntyre is clear, and Matt McIntyre with a great move on the back straightaway is going to take the checker flag. He wins the hashtag Daytona Dream 2019 GoFundMe Clash at Daytona. He timed the green flag perfectly, jumped up to the outside of Kyle Matthews, used the side draft, used the push from Carson Gum, and then that whole outside line prevailed down the back straightaway, and Matt McIntyre had it smooth sailing clear on both lanes into 3, and just basically had to ride his way to the win here today at the Daytona International Speedway. Great win for Matt McIntyre, as he will put that Michael Norman Motorsports entry in victory lane for the first race of the season, non-points as it is, at Daytona International Speedway, and a great way for Matt McIntyre to start off Speed Weeks here at the home to the Great American Race. Kyle Matthews will have to settle for second place. Carson Gum brings it home with third. Jesse Turner will finish in fourth, and Zach Rogers will finish the day out in fifth. We'll talk about jumping up through the field, Dylan Poteet, who ran in the 14th position for a majority of this race. He's going to bring it home in 6th. LaPlante in 7th, Mitchell in 8th, Shelley 9th, and Matthew Rodriguez will complete the top 10. That's going to do it here today for the Clash at Daytona. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finish results, and we will see you guys later on this week for Daytona 500, qualifying your duels to determine the rest of the Daytona 500 starting grid, and of course, the Great American Race, the Daytona 500 here in the Duracell Cup Series. You've been watching production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. Congrats to Matt McIntyre on the win here today in the Clash.